Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? Thumbs up.
Yes.
Excellent. My name is Cynthia Loesch-Johnson, and I'm president of the Codman Square Neighborhood Council. I want to thank you all for joining us this evening for the Codman Square Neighborhood Council's monthly community meeting. We are still meeting virtually. We hope to get to a point where enough people are comfortable meeting in person in the near future. We know we'll have some type of hybrid model in the near future, but for now, we're still meeting virtually and keeping everyone safe. So thank you all for joining us this evening and sharing your time with us as we cover a lot of important community information, resources, just lots of information for you to share with your friends, your family, and your neighbors after this meeting. As you all know, these meetings are recorded, and then we post the meeting on our YouTube channel after, usually 2 days after, if Jeff can get it up quickly enough, and then you can share the meeting with your friends and family. So we're going to get started. I want to ask you all, if you're not speaking presently, to just mute yourselves. If you have questions, feel free to raise your hand or ask questions in the chat, or also unmute yourself if it's the appropriate time for questions or comments. And just remember, this is your meeting, so make sure you get the most out of it. Ask a lot of questions, share information. We're all here for each other. I also just want to quickly acknowledge the board members of the Codman Square Neighborhood Council. We have 11 resident board members and 11 stakeholders. If some of you are on, feel free to raise your hand and wave, or wave if your video is on. These individuals spend week after week, month after month, helping to put on these community meetings, all of the Codman Square community events that we lead, the farmers markets, all the initiatives that you think of when you think of the Codman Square Neighborhood Council. And so I really just want to take a moment to acknowledge and recognize them, because without them, we wouldn't have all of this information in one place and a lot of the different activities that we have going on in the community. With that, I will share my screen quickly just so you guys can see the agenda briefly. Can everyone see the agenda? We will jump around a little bit, just seeing the presenters that are on and thinking about the flow of the evening, but we will cover all of this evening. And again, make sure, if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, that you subscribe so that you can see all of the previous meetings that we have and just stay up to date as we move forward. Okay, with that, I will now hand it off to B3. I think I saw Nadia. Is she on again? There she is. To give us our police report for the restricted side.
Hi, everyone. I'm going to be giving you a report for the last 30 days within your catchment area. So not too busy, really. 15 reports generated in total. 6 of them are domestic, so we obviously don't touch upon that. We had 2 sick assist calls that were reported, just required some EMS. There was one concerning issue, I would say, which was the shooting involved at Dorchester High. I'm happy to let everybody know that 2 individuals were arrested and 2 firearms were recovered in relation to that incident. There was intimidation threats that were done on Dunbar Ave. That was in there was kids hanging out by a field, and the young man was approached by another man and was asked if he's Hispanic, and if he was, that he was going to be in some trouble. The individual demanded the kid's cell phone, took his cell phone from him, and then the kid started walking away. And as he was walking away, the kid had said to him, "Do you want to get shot in this park?" And then he said, "I'm just kidding." And then he left with the kid's cell phone and a group of 5 girls. And that was the end of that. The detectives are looking further into that incident. There was a call at the school on March 29th for a student that pulled a knife out on another student. And then we had a towed motor vehicle that was reported there was a motor vehicle accident, Armandine and Milton Ave, minor injuries, and then a vandalism that occurred on Armandine Street where a motor vehicle was keyed, and that occurred on April 2nd. And then that is all I have.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the B3 side? Comments, thoughts, anything you want to raise with B3? No. Thank you so much for your report and for being with us each month. We look forward to hearing from you next month.
Thank you.
Is C11 on? Is Officer Keaney on?
Officer Keaney's here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi, Officer Keaney. He's going to give the C11 report.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
And I'll be just as brief. I don't have a heck of a lot to tell you. Starting on March 3rd at 10:58 p.m., we got a call for an armed robbery at Rosario's Market at 760 Washington Street. Clerk stated that 15 minutes earlier, a white male, 50 to 55 years of age, came in, showed a black firearm, and got the day's receipts, including lottery, to the tune of about $2,000. He fled in an unknown direction once he stepped out onto Washington Street. And the other incident, March 31st, 2:30 p.m., there was a call for a person with a gun near 472 Washington Street. On arrival, we spoke to a woman who was involved in a minor traffic accident with a young man who was on a moped. When he tumbled to the ground, out of his waistband came a firearm. Kid went over, picked up the firearm, put it back in his waistband. Another motorbike came by. He hopped on that, and they took off down Park Street towards Geneva. We were able to catch up with this bike, but then he started racing crazy, went up the wrong way, up towards Westville Street. Kids were just getting out of school, so we didn't chase that young man any longer. There was no one hurt. The bike itself came back stolen out in Chelsea. The only other thing of note, and I'll have more to tell you about it next month because it happened about 5:30 tonight at Wash and Melville Ave. The Youth Violence Strike Force at the lot there arrested a young man with a firearm. I don't have any of the particulars. I don't know if they had information or how this came about. As I said, it happened just a short while ago, and he's downstairs now getting booked. So I'll have a little bit more on that next month. And all in all, things have been pretty decent up in Codman Square. I hope I don't jinx you.
Yes, please don't jinx us. Any questions for Officer Keaney, C11? Officer Keaney, did I see you recently over on Wainwright Street?
Yes, I got a call. I was doing some overtime. We had a young boy who lives up on Talbot Ave, and while Mom was cleaning the house, he decided to go to the tot lot and not tell his mother. He's 5 years of age, and he's in good shape and all. He just left the house without telling Mom, and he was given a stern spoken to by his mom, and everything's fine.
Oh, well, that's good to hear. I wasn't able to run over and say hi, but I was like, I definitely think that's Officer Keaney.
No, I had a good report, the young man. His name was Michael too. So.
Any questions for C11? Questions, comments, thoughts? No? Well, thank you so much for being with us.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes, of course. Go ahead, Amy.
There was, I don't know there was an incident last night on Lithgow. I mean, it just happened. I don't know if you knew anything about that. Yeah,
the state troopers pulled over a car that had been speeding on Talbot Ave. Was on Galvin to Dot Ave to Talbot Ave. Finally, they got it pulled over, and a gentleman ran out of the passenger side holding his budge. So trooper couldn't go after him because he had the driver. So they called for our assistance. Our officers showed up, and the young man, I guess, ran into the basement of 64 Lithgow Street and made his way out of 64 Lithgow by the time we got there. But that's what that was all about.
Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Keaney. We look forward to hearing from you next month.
Take it easy, everybody. And if you celebrate it, happy Easter.
Thank you.
Bye.
I know oftentimes the B3 and C11 reports can be a bit negative, but that's not all we cover here at the Common Square Neighborhood Council. We have a lot of positive things happening in the neighborhood as well. And so I will hand it off to Richard Scott, the Dorchester Winter Farmers Market Manager, to talk about the Winter Farmers Market season.
How's everyone doing today? So, as you guys may know, I am Richard. I was the winter market manager for this year's farmers market. So, as you know, I've been sending a couple email blasts. You have seen me if you been out at the market, and it was a great experience on my behalf. You know, working with the bowl teams, really just getting that message out to really, provide more food accessibility in the community, which is great. And to have our vendors come out and just have even increased number of vendors that came out and just came out and supported and helped the community out. It was just a great turnout. And I also want to give a special shout out to, again, the mayor and all the different city representatives and city councils that came out during our event that we had just to really showcase the market. It was just, again, a great turnout. It was just another way to get the message across to the rest of the community who might not known about the farmers market. And to also touch on that, we was also able to give out our coupons. We was able to give out $10,000 in total of coupons for this winter market. So that was just a great start for us, and hoping to push back to get towards as we get geared for the summer market, and hopefully I'll be back again for the winter market just to just keep the message going and keep the positivity going in the community. So just want to give a big shout out to everyone who's came out and supported us throughout the time, and look forward to seeing you guys out here again. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Any questions for Richard about the Dorchester Winter Farmers Market? Just a reminder, the Dorchester Winter Farmers Market is the only winter market in Dorchester during the winter season. And I just want to give Richard a big round of applause. He did a really good job making sure we had access to farm fresh food during the winter months. And the winter market was a success. This year, it was a hybrid model with both online and on-site access. And a lot of people enjoyed it, and a lot of families really appreciated having this resource right here in the community. So thank you so much, Richard.
Thank you.
Moving along in the agenda, we are now going to hear more about the COVID-19 project. If you guys don't know, we're partnering with Boston Project Ministries and a couple of other civic associations in the Codman Square area to just keep people aware of COVID-19 and its ongoing impact on our community. Vaccines, preventative measures, safety measures. Do we have the representatives from the COVID-19 project on to talk about COVID-19? If not, we'll come back to them. We'll circle back. No? Okay. Well, then we'll move along in the agenda. We have a very, very special guest tonight. We have the CEO of Sportsmen's Tennis and Enrichment Center. They have a huge expansion project going on, and Toni Wiley is here to tell us all about it and let us know what we can do to support this initiative because this resource is right here in our community. So let's give a big round of applause for Toni.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share. I'm going to go into my presentation so that I can, if you can make me a co-host, I will share my screen.
All set.
Great, thank you. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Sorry. Okay. So I'm hopeful that most of you know a little bit about Sportsmen's. We are right in the neighborhood. We're on Blue Hill Avenue, right near the corner of Talbot Avenue. It's kind of next door, although it's a big yard, but next door to the Boys and Girls Club. And we've been there for 50 years. We were founded 60 years ago. We moved to that space in 1967, and our club was actually built in 1970. We offer tennis for kids and adults in the number of youth programs, after-school academics, youth leadership programs, life skill programs, and some health and wellness programs that you'll also hear about as we go through. And I'm going to move through this quickly so that I can get to any questions that you may have. Our mission-driven programs, again, as we say, they're really the free and low-cost tennis, academics, and life skills programs that we work with with more than 5,000 kids every year. There are certainly other programs at Sportsmen's. We have adult tennis programs. We have a number of kids that come from outside of Boston. We have programs that drive revenue that allow us to underwrite a lot of these types of programs. But the programs that we really work hard to support are those mission-driven core programs that I discussed a moment ago. So one of the programs we have here, it looks like my screen is doing some weird things here. This is a program called Volley Against Violence, which is a partnership with the Boston Police that's been happening for more than 10 years now. It's a dialogue that we started well before the current national dialogue about the relationship between police and the community. And it was really created in order for kids to get a better understanding of the police and their role in the community, and for the police to kind of remember how to talk to a kid like a kid. And it really just brings the kids and the police on court together every Friday night at 6 o'clock for a couple of hours, along with some of our tennis coaches and some volunteers. In addition to them playing tennis, there's a community dialogue that happens every night. There, when we get back into the swing of things, there'll be pizza and all kinds of other things that just really keep the kids engaged and give them a chance to see the police in their own element, and vice versa with the police themselves. And this again is one of the examples after the tennis itself is done. This is one of the community conversations. Everyone sits down in small groups. There's a police officer in every group. And we have a conversation about whatever the topic of the evening was for Volley Against Violence. The classroom programs that we offer Monday through Friday, they are not drop-in programs at all. You have to sign your kids up, and then the kids come for the entire week, for the entire year. If they're not going to be there on a particular day, we're expecting to hear from the parents. We have a very strong partnership with the schools, with the classroom teachers, also with the principals and the guidance counselors. We have a program in partnership with Boston After School and Beyond called the Summer Learning Project, where we have typically 40 to 50 kids, usually rising second and third graders, for 5 weeks of academics, math and literacy, 125 hours over the course of those 5 weeks. It's a completely free program. It's intended for kids who are at or maybe even slightly below grade level as they approach the end of the school year. And the goal is to get them ready to start the next school year without losing anything over the course of the summer. So in the classroom, again, these are the mission-driven programs that you hear us talking about. About 73% of our kids, third graders, are reading at grade level, compared with 33% at many of the local schools. And 90% of the kids in our after-school and summer programs improve their levels in math, science, and English by 1 level. And of the kids that are involved in our program, the scholar athletes that have been in our program, 100% of them have graduated from high school on time. Again, my screen is doing something a little bit odd here. This talks about the demographics of our kids. So 94% of the kids that are in our mission-driven program are people of color. 67% of them are from the Dorchester, Roxbury, Mattapan pipeline, and 83% speak more than 1 language, and 100% in the mission-driven programs are low-income families. So we talked about Volley Against Violence. There's also the Brigham and Women's Center for Community Wellness at Sportsmen's, which are a series of free health and wellness programs for neighborhood adults and families. It's a partnership with the Brigham through which the interns and doctors from the Brigham come to the Sportsman Center. And right now they're online, but we're actually bringing them back hybrid for a series of conversations about topics that are important for our particular community. And in addition to that, there's a free fitness center on site. You sign up once a year and sign the waiver once a year, sign in every time you use it, but it is free to the community. Tomorrow night's conversation is on substance and alcohol abuse and the impact that COVID has had on those issues. You can see more information on our website, but it's tomorrow evening at 7. It is both in person at the Sportsmen's facility at 7 o'clock, and it's also available on Zoom. And then our free gender-specific programs on the weekend for boys and girls on Saturdays. In addition to tennis instruction, we focus on life skills like public speaking and community service. And it's an important opportunity for them to have informal mentoring with the adults and that are on our staff and who volunteer with us as well. So with the expansion, we're looking to be able to increase the number of kids who participate in our summer camp over the summer from roughly 200 to about 300. That will also allow us to increase the number of kids who receive free or subsidized tennis instruction in our weekly clinics. We will expand basically by 4 indoor courts during the school year, during the indoor season, and eventually we'll add 2 additional courts on the outside. So during the course of our program, we've had over 15,000 kids that engaged in our tennis programming from 1996 to 2019. We provide over 900 hours of academic and athletic programming for kids every year. Our athletes exceed the federal guidelines for the youth physical activity, which is often not the case, unfortunately, for a lot of the kids in the BPS system. So I'm going to try to move through this a little bit more quickly, but basically, we really just want to emphasize again that our tennis is at all different levels. It's for kids who are beginning. It's for really seasoned players. We have kids who are nationally ranked. We have adults who played in college who now play on our competitive travel teams. And we really, our goal is to meet you where you are with your own athleticism and your tennis goals and help you reach the level that you're seeking. So the timeline here is that we began this process in 2018. We began with a feasibility study. We began the quiet phase of this campaign in 2021. We've secured at this point a little over $4 million in funding and pledges for the campaign itself, really for phase 1. We are waiting any day now for national approval from the National Park Service. We've raised enough of the funds to put the first building up, which is adding the 4 indoor courts, and we're hoping to be able to start that process this fall. And then the campaign will conclude with us adding all of the other elements. So the first phase is all about increasing tennis capacity. The second phase gives us more indoor space for the fitness center, the classrooms. We'll be adding a teaching kitchen and adding an exhibit that is dedicated to the history of Black tennis in the United States, starting from the early 1900s, sorry. So this is a glimpse of what Sportsmen's looks like right now. We have 2 court buildings, a 4-court building and a 3-court building, and then we have 7 outdoor courts. And the first phase of this expansion is to enclose those 4 outdoor courts so that we can use them year round. And then we'll also be putting lights on the 3 outdoor remaining courts again, so that we can use them a little bit later into the fall season. The real issue right now simply is that during COVID, 4 local tennis clubs went out of business. So there are many folks that are just struggling to find court time right now, and we're hopeful that we can get these courts online as soon as possible. So this is the facility again right now, and after the expansion is actually complete, both phases, this is what it will look like. So the first phase again is to add a new building on the first 4 outdoor courts and to add lighting to those back 3 courts. As you can see there are also solar panels that will be on that first building. And then the second phase is adding the building that is adjacent to the new 4-court building, and that's where the new fitness center will be. There'll be additional restrooms, et cetera. We'll be expanding the lobby down to the ground level to make the facility more accessible than it is right now, and to add space for a new lobby area, a teaching kitchen, and the exhibit that I mentioned, as well as more restroom facilities. And then we'll add 2 more outdoor courts, both for summer camp and just for the neighborhood usage. I don't have a lot of the specifics or the technicalities around the solar panels, but I wanted to have this slide here in case anyone who is more in tune with this than I am and wants to see it, but it would get an understanding of it. I think what's most important to share about this is that because of the size of the roof, we will generate far more electricity than what Sportsmen's needs. So as a result, as you see here over on the right, there will be 18 to 25 low-income tenants in our area that will also be able to participate in this program, and we'll be able to generate about $113,000 in savings over the life of the system. So those 18 to 25 families, we will help Resident Energy find them, and they will be able to sign up to get a significant discount on their electric use because of this solar project. So that's what I wanted to share. As I've said, we are in what is probably going to end up being about a close to $10 million campaign when it's all said and done. The first phase is about 4.8 million. We've raised about 4.6 of that. Anyone who would like to learn more about it or to help us with the campaign can certainly feel free to visit our website at sportsmenstennis.org. My contact information is there. I'm happy to speak with anyone. We have a free coffee hour the first Saturday of every month at 9 a.m. We give tours of the facility and tours of the expansion. And as I shared, the Brigham and Women's Center for Community Wellness has health forums. We talk about things like diabetes, hypertension, stroke prevention, cancer awareness. Those happen the first and third Thursday of every month. They've been on Zoom for the last couple of years, and we're just bringing them back to hybrid right now. So the next one is tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. And again, there's information on our website. So I'm happy now to pause for any questions. And I hope I stayed within my 10 minutes that I was allotted.
Yes, you did. Wow, thank you so much for sharing this update with us. This facility is a true gem in our community. We are so lucky to have it. I'm going to open it up for questions, but I do see one in the chat right here. Do you have to be a member to participate in Sportsmen's?
So you don't have to be a member. You can certainly, it's easier if you're a member, especially right now with the fact that there are so few people, there are so few courts available because of the closures. So for example, there's no such thing as a kids membership. Kids can just come in and register for a program. If adults want to play, if you want to join a team, you have to be a member. If you want to rent a court, you don't have to be a member, but you can't book it as far in advance if you're not a member. If you take a private lesson, for example, it's a little more expensive if you're not a member, and membership is $325 a year. So it's not anything that's burdensome. The youth programs that I mentioned, all of those they're free. The Volley Against Violence is free. Hey Sister Induced, the Boys and Girls programs on Saturdays, they're free. There's no kind of membership that's required. There is a fee for summer camp, but we also take vouchers from Child Care Choices. We take all kinds of assistance, and we provide scholarship assistance of our own as well. I hope that's helpful.
Very helpful. How young how young does your programming start? What age?
We start at 5 years old. A couple of years ago, we did have a toddler tennis program for 2-year-olds, which frankly is the most adorable thing you've ever seen. But it is not possible. It is not physically possible to socially distance 2-year-olds. So we had to stop that program for a little while, and hopefully we'll be able to bring it back. When it does exist, one parent is required to be on court with the child. But for everything else, it starts at 5 years old.
Are there other questions for Toni? See if there's anything else in the chat.
Can I say something or ask something?
Of course.
So Toni, can you also, I know you're talking about the vision of where we're headed at Sportsmen, but can you also just give a few minutes on what we've already accomplished, like all the improvements we made from lights to all the stuff we've worked on with the new buildings already, but the place is, if you haven't been there in a long time, you should come see it, I guess. Can you just kind of talk through some of the recent improvements as well?
I would be happy to do that. And I certainly would be remiss if I didn't thank Representative Holmes for all the support that he's given us in making the facility cleaner, safer, and just really even more of a gem than it is for the community. I've been there, it'll be 14 years in a couple months. And during that time, I can tell you again, if you haven't been there, the courts are brand new, the lights, the heating system is brand new. The facility was painted. It used to be about 10 different shades of green. Now it's a very vibrant blue. There's a beautiful new mural of Arthur Ashe and Venus Williams on the outside. We spent $650,000 putting a new roof on the facility. And everything that we've done without taking on any debt whatsoever. The wellness center that we talked about, we built a 2-level wellness center inside the facility. So that we now have our classrooms. The kids are learning in state-of-the-art classrooms with an elevator up to the 2nd floor. And none of this existed up until just a very few years ago. People come into the facility, because we have 15 adult league teams that compete, people come to Sportsmen from clubs all over Eastern Mass, and they walk in and they say, wow, these courts are beautiful. They don't expect it when they walk in the door. but they really are some of the nicest courts that you'll find anywhere in Eastern Mass. So if you haven't been, or if you were there a long time ago, 10, 15 years ago, you got to come back in and see what it looks like right now.
Thank you, Toni. 14 years. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for keeping that facility open. Thank you for making sure we have this resource in our community. And it's just so exciting to see what the future holds. How can we support this expansion? What can we do?
Well, certainly, again, if you go on our website, we're close to the first phase. We welcome donations. If there's anyone you'd like to introduce us to, and it doesn't have to be people who are only interested in tennis, because as we've said, our primary goal is raising kids who are ready to, who are going to graduate on time and be ready to be contributing members of society. So if there are folks who care about youth education, who care about health and wellness, who care about social and emotional wellness, we would like to meet them. We'd like to help them understand what we do. If you have people in your community that are looking for summer camp, one thing I will proudly say is that we never turn someone away because of their inability to pay. We will find a way. If you can't get a child care choices voucher, if you can't get something from ABCD, we will find a way to work with every family. So come and check us out. When the time comes for after school programming next year. Again, our goal, yes, the kids do play tennis a couple times a week and they have fun, but they get their homework done. When their homework is done, we have our own curriculum in math and literacy to keep them moving forward. And they get to learn a sport that, isn't really taught that much in the Boston public school system, but it is the sport of a lifetime. And I say that because it's one of the few sports you can continue to play into your 70s and 80s. We have people who play, 2, 3, 4 times a week that are octogenarians, and they love it. And you don't see that many 80-year-olds playing football and basketball. So the thing to do at any age, I didn't start playing until I was in my 40s. You can start playing at any age. It is really the sport of a lifetime. Becky, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wondered if you'd had any uptick in interest among kids since the movie King Richard came out.
I can't say since the movie, again, there's been a lot of demand because of the tennis clubs that went out of business. There are different, kind of kids, it goes in and out of season. There are some kids who play tennis year round. There are other kids who play and then they may run track or they may play soccer, et cetera. So it's hard to see if there's been an increase because of the movie itself. I will say that the producers did a huge event at Sportsmen. They brought a bunch of kids for a premiere, for a showing of it. They took a bunch of pictures out in front of the mural that we have on our wall. And they've talked about trying to come back at some point, trying to get Will Smith there and trying to see what they can do. So they certainly were very engaged with us, but I can't necessarily say that there's an uptick tied to that.
Cool. Excellent. Any other questions, comments, thoughts for Toni?
And I see that our website is in the chat, sportsmenstennis.org.
Yes. Thank you, Jackie, for putting that in the chat for us. Oh, well, this is wonderful. We really appreciate the update. We'll have those slides on YouTube so people can revisit them and see how impressive this expansion is. We're really excited about the solar panels. We're really excited about all of the efficiency. This is wonderful. If you have not visited the facility in a while, please take a moment out of your day, go see it. It's just such a wonderful resource. It's like hidden, you don't really see it when you're driving through, but it's there. And it's a phenomenal resource for our community.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you so much, Toni. Moving along in the agenda, we will now hear an update from our very own Bold Teens. Is Saraphina Jean on?
Yes.
I'll hand it off to you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Saraphina Jean, and I'm a Bold Teen. The Bold Teen is a youth-led group that focuses on health, social, and environmental justice. We just wrapped up the Dorchester Winter Farmers Market season, and one of the things we have been working on, in addition to running the farmers market, is looking at the merchants in Codman Square and trying to determine if families are happy with what we have available to us. We have a lot of fast food, corner stores, beauty salons, etc. We don't have a sit-down restaurant, a variety of healthy food options and other things other neighborhoods have. We have been working with the Codman Square Neighborhood Council to survey on families what they would like to see in the community. I want to show you the results. As you can see, families voted for sit-down restaurants are desired, bookstores, pet shops. Basically, residents want more variety. I encourage you to take our quick 60-second survey if you have not already, and tell us what would you like to see in the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Saraphina. So we've been hearing about this survey month after month. And so finally now we see some of the preliminary results. And yeah, it does sound like people want more variety in the Codman Square community. We really appreciate you guys taking lead on this initiative because it's important to know what our families want in the community, what the leakages is, what they're leaving Codman Square to go do, to go buy, to go experience. So thank you. Any questions for Saraphina? The QR code is on the screen. You guys can pull out your phones. Use your phone to just scan this QR code and take the survey if you haven't already. It's a really quick survey. Share it with your friends, share it with your family members, and let's give more responses for the Bold Teens as they collect this data. Also, Saraphina, don't you have exciting news? Wasn't there a big announcement that happened recently for the Bold Teens?
Yes, we got an Upstream award for our great work.
Yes, they were awarded.
We are winners.
What'd you say?
I said we are winners. We are award winners.
Yes, you guys are winners. Yes, the Bold Teens were acknowledged by the 84. It's a statewide group that focuses on tobacco prevention and education. And the 84 stands for the 84% of young people in the state that are not engaging in using tobacco products, but they received this award for all of their work with really looking at social justice and efforts to improve the health of their community by really making systems change and their upstream approach. So let's give them a big round of applause for all of their work in improving the health of the community. Any questions for the Bold Teens or for Saraphina? I see other Bold Teens are on. Christina's on, Lori's on, Lawrence is on, in addition to Saraphina. So big congratulations. You guys see the reactions here? You're getting an applause here. It's wonderful to see young people, taking time to really focus on their community and making change, making positive change. They could be doing a number of other things, but this is what they're choosing to do with their time. So it's really impressive to see. Thank you, Saraphina. And if you guys haven't visited Sportmen's, Bold Teens, make sure you go visit Sportsmen's if you haven't. Moving along in the agenda, let me just check to see if Sandy is on. We have a very special guest. Sandy's Amor Calixte. Are you on? Let me see. The candidate for Suffolk County Sheriff. Yes, Sandy's here. Okay. We're
Hi, how are you?
To have you here. You are no stranger to the Codman Square Neighborhood Council, but you're here in a much different capacity. So we are excited to hear about all of your efforts. You're a candidate for Suffolk County Sheriff. Take it away.
Yes, I am. I'm happy to be here this evening. I see many faces that I haven't seen in a while, unfortunately. But yes, I'm here in a different capacity. I am actually here because I have announced my candidacy for Suffolk County Sheriff. And I'd like to share who I am, why I'm running, and some of the things that I want to tackle if I'm elected to be the next sheriff of Suffolk County. So those of you that do not know me, I want you all to know I'm a mother of a BPS student. I'm a wife. I am a daughter of Haitian immigrants, a public safety professional, and a resident of Mattapian, and an advocate for my community. For the last 2 decades, I've been working behind the scenes at the Suffolk County Sheriff's Department to make it more equitable, transparent, and community-centered. However, working behind the scenes has not allowed me the ability to implement the change that's needed for the population, for the community, and for the officers at the Suffolk County Sheriff's Department. I mean, I have a tremendous amount of respect for the current sheriff, but this one is not about one person. It's about changing a system to give the services they need to have a second chance, because we know too many people in our communities were never given a first chance. For too long, people in our communities, especially Black and Latino, have been denied the education, economic, and resources they deserve as a direct result of failed government policies. These failed policies have led to Black men being 5 times more likely to be incarcerated than white men, and Latino men to be incarcerated 1.5 times more likely than white men, which has populated our correctional system with the most disadvantaged Black and brown men under the age of 40. And may I add, 60 to 70% of those individuals have an education level between a 5th to 7th grade education level. That is not a legal age that you can drop out of school. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, a master's in criminal justice from Northeastern University, and a graduate certificate in social justice from Harvard Extension School. But I also have a proven record at the Suffolk County Sheriff's Department and in the community to deliver the change that is needed. Change that addresses the systemic barriers that make it hard for those that are incarcerated and their families to integrate once they serve their time. Change that will assess the current programs and determine what is working and why, and not to ensure individuals return to the community as successful. Change that includes our focus on the implementation of evidence-based effective initiatives that create more pathways to employment once they come back to the community. And change that does not support the population paying for phone calls and, quite frankly, paying for virtual visits while the department is closed due to a pandemic. We all know maintaining and established communication with their families is a vital component of their rehabilitation while they're incarcerated, and also establishing that type of support so when they reintegrate back into the community, they have the support that they need to be successful. But we also need change that holds the department accountable and leads with professionalism, empathy, transparency, and integrity. Because we know that often our communities are fed a false narrative that we must choose between supporting law enforcement and keeping our communities safe, and the approach to eradicate and discriminate and solve the root causes of violence, crime, and trauma. My apologies. My daughter keeps calling me, I'm sorry. Equally important, we must also engage our youth in our conversation about law enforcement. They are our present, they are our future. We need them at the table or we will not get the change that we are needed. And this is why I have announced my candidacy for Suffolk County Sheriffs. We can do better, we must do better, and as your sheriff, I will do better. And that is why I'm running. I am looking forward to a robust campaign that is focused on the issues and the people and not politics. And I hope you will join this campaign and learn more by visiting sandyforsheriff.com. And that's me. And I'm ready for any questions that anyone may have for me.
Thank you so much for that introduction. And please put the link that you just mentioned into the chat if you haven't already.
Yes, Benny's here, my deputy campaign manager. He will definitely get it in there. Oh, here he goes.
Oh, there he goes. Thanks, Benny. Right on time. Okay,
right on time.
I'm looking for questions for Sandy. What educational opportunities or pathways will you implement for our young men and women returning to the community?
Well, when we're talking about education, one of the issues I mentioned the phone calls. So currently, what was the narrative that was being said before was that paying for phone calls is what pays for their programming. And I disagree with that. We need to have a line item so that we can give correct programming and a sufficient amount of programming to individuals. Currently, California is delivering CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, which is evidence-based and shows that it's working to give individuals coping mechanisms to deal with substance use, and also to deal with criminal behavior. It is being measured. It's showing the outcomes are strong and they're working. And so I'd like to implement that for not only for the population, but also for the employees there. In addition to that, I would like to implement some evidence-based implicit, explicit bias training at the Suffolk County Sheriff's Department. We do not have that. And although we do not arrest, we do not sentence, individuals spend their time with us. So therefore individuals need to recognize their biases.
Thank you. Other questions or comments for Sandy? Just looking through the chat here. This is really exciting. When did you know that you were going to run?
So it was interesting. I actually initially, I had thought about leaving. It was just that my views did no longer align with the current administration. But as I began to talk to individuals and talk about the new journey I was going to embark on, several people said that, they heard why I was leaving and they thought, they said, well, why don't you run for the seat? And if anyone knows me, they know I've always been behind the scenes. That's my comfort zone. So I was like, no, I can't do it. I can't do it. But then I thought about how passionate and how I could execute the change that's needed. And so I spoke to my husband, and then I spoke to my sisters and a few political figures that I know and some community activists. And we, I had a conversation. And it was during COVID that I decided that I was going to run for the seat and see what happens. And, I've had the support of Marie St. Fleur, Matt O'Malley, John Connolly, big time, Marilyn Foreman. Just quite a few people have also been very supportive of this race. So I'm just going to be out there meeting voters, meeting community members where they're at, listening, and talking about the change that we need so individuals can come back to our community and be successful.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Just checking the chat one more time. So for those of us that are not familiar with the process and the timeline for this election, can you just provide some background so that people can become more familiar?
So primaries are September 6th. So currently there's only 2 of us, Sheriff Tompkins and myself, that are running. That'll determine who will move forward on December 6th.
Excellent. I encourage you all to visit the link in the chat to learn more. Oh, Marilyn has a question. Are there more external programs you plan to implement once the inmates are released?
She said so what I want to do is, what we currently have, we have contracts with Boston Police Department, U.S. Marshals, all the law enforcement agencies. So our mandate ends once they are released because our mandate is care, custody, and control. But what I want to do is develop these relationships and contracts with nonprofits or organizations that work with continuum of care, meaning once they've released from the department, so that we can continue to work with them and follow them, because we have already started a relationship with them to make sure they can continue to get the resources that they need. And another thing that I want to leverage our relationship with is the Department of Registry of Motor Vehicles, so that we can make sure everyone that leaves the department leaves with a picture ID, or if their license needs to be renewed because it expired while they're incarcerated, because at the very least, you need a picture ID to apply for employment. And a lot of people leave and they don't have that. And every mom and pop shop that sells a vehicle has access to that. And here we have a state agency, and we haven't leveraged our relationship with the department, the Registry of Motor Vehicles.
Excellent. Marilyn said, great. Okay, well, if there are no other questions or comments, I just really want to thank you for taking time to meet with us this evening. We look forward to seeing what happens with the campaign. I'm sure there's many people on here that wants to support you, so they'll be visiting your link and finding ways to do that. Deryck has a question. Will you do the same for Social Security cards?
I would have to look at what the requirements are on individuals that don't have theirs. We could start the process. The goal is to have an individual, a caseworker, so that individuals leave with a packet of everything that they need so that they can be successful. And if that's a Social Security card, if that's a picture ID, hopefully we can work on their housing, and then we can also continue to work with them to make sure that they're getting their resources, they're not lost in the system or falling in the cracks and reoffending because they do not have the resources that are actually out there, but we need to leverage our relationship with.
Any other questions, comments?
I was just going to say it doesn't make sense to type. Are you working with any employers as of right now for a lot of the young folks that are incarcerated right now to have that kind of pipeline? So when folks are getting the documentation that they need and the skill sets that they may have behind the wall to kind of link them into work when they are released?
So I have been gone. I resigned in January. And programs, at the time, we were not letting people in due to COVID. So I can't speak on what they're doing specifically right now, because I'm no longer an employee at the Suffolk County Sheriff's Department. I can just speak on what they did not have and what they were not doing when I was there.
Any other questions or comments? No? Okay, well, Sandy, thank you so much for your time and attention this evening. Deryck is giving you the thumbs up, so I think he's good.
Thank you.
We look forward to hearing more from you.
I look forward to coming back. My policy should be posted in a few weeks. Once we have them posted, I look forward to coming back and discussing them with everyone. Thank you for your time this evening.
Excellent, thank you. Speaking of Deryck, we're now going to hand it off to Deryck. He's going to tell us more about the Phoenix Free Sober Active Community. Let me just make you a co-host, Deryck.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? Thank you for the time. Yes, it's a sober active community where it's not, the misconception is that it's only for people who are in recovery, and that's not true. We're there for people who are in support of folks who are in recovery or in the substance use disorder. One of the big things is we're trying to build a community of people who can do like things, that are in like minds, to kind of continue the pathway, whichever pathway a person is on. As most of you may know, that there's different ways of people handling their sobriety. So what we like to do is just give them the opportunity to have workouts, meditation, yoga, and just literally some camaraderie as they're going through their journey. I do have a slideshow, and forgive me, give me 1 second. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
So yeah, our logo is Rise, Recover, and Live. And as you can think of the phoenix rising from the ashes, and going through your journey so you can live your life at the end of the day. This is a community space where we want folks to kind of come in and enjoy the space. It's not your average gym, so you're not going to walk into the space and see a whole bunch of ellipticals, treadmills, and stuff like this. We have what they call a rig system. And in that rig system, you set up the apparatuses to kind of do your workouts and stuff like this. But what it does is create the atmosphere of community. So folks are working out together amongst each other. And in that space, you don't know whom is in recovery, because we do have a bunch of supporters, everything from police officers, probation officers, and the likes that come through the gym. And again, if you don't know whom those people are, you won't be able to tell the difference between the two people who are doing the workouts. We do have some community standards that we try to abide by when we're going through the gym. I'm not going to read through all of this, but if anybody wants a copy of this, I can send it out to you. Just the bolded pieces of the sobriety. Anyone can come to the gym if you have your 48 hours of sobriety, continuous sobriety. And that goes for anyone, even for folks who are not in recovery. We ask you to do the same, is not walk into our space if you know you've been out the night before indulging in anything. We know there's a lot of legal substances out there now where we still ask, where certain aromas tend to come off of people. And what we try to do is create that safe environment so folks can kind of come in and not feel tempted by any aromas. It's a physically and emotionally safe space. If you think about that, it's just, we don't want anybody, the way we talk about things, the way we talk about people. We're not a dating service, so we don't want folks to try to meet people in that space, even though you may find somebody that you're attracted to. We just ask that those things don't happen while we're in the space, and making people feel uncomfortable and using certain languages as well, and just making everybody feel safe. A contribution to the community is basically, as folks are coming into the environment, we would love folks to volunteer with us. One way we keep this is a completely free atmosphere, so folks can come in at no cost as long as they have that 48 hours of sobriety. One way that we kind of maintain that is by people volunteering. So if you volunteer your time back into it, in-house and sometimes in other locations, it helps us continue to build out that free workout and free opportunities for folks. As you can see, we do have some youth programming that we do in the program, in the building as well. That's usually on a separate level, just because of the environment itself. We do have the youth that come in, and we usually create a different atmosphere for them. So it's just them in the building with the facilitators. As you can see, that's the rig space that I was talking about in the middle of the floor. And if you look at the colorful wall around the gym, that's our rock climbing wall. So it's a 30-foot rock climbing wall where you have to have somebody who, we have a bunch of our volunteers and staff who are certified belayers, that you're tied in and you have your harness on and stuff like this. So there's no fear of falling. But that's one of the other great things about the gym, is that you can utilize that space. Some of the other community standards is just talking about smoking. So we ask people not to smoke on the premises at all, not in front, not outside. We just try to ask folks to kind of be mindful of what they're doing. When people are having their friends or family or supporters coming in, we ask them to abide by the same exact guidelines that we have everybody else abide by, even if they are not in recovery. We just ask you to kind of go by the same community standards. When we do have youth events, and we're trying to create those more often, where right now we do them like just about every quarter, and we're trying to get more of those done out. But parents or guardians are always in control of their children. We don't want folks to just kind of drop their kids off and walk away. We want them to be along with their kids while they're there. Members are, we call them the face of the Phoenix. So as you join the gym, you may buy some of our wear. So we have t-shirts, hats, and different paraphernalia that you may be able to use and like. But we just ask that you're mindful of where you're wearing those things. So we don't want you out and about with certain establishments and taking pictures while wearing our stuff, while it's saying that we're trying to live a sober life, but you're out celebrating something else. So we just ask folks to be mindful of what you're doing when you're wearing the paraphernalia. We have a bunch of different partnerships that we work with. We have the Boston Police from B3 and B2 that work with the seniors, that bring the seniors down. So we have a coffee social every Wednesday from 10 to noon. Anybody is welcome to come in. We do everything from playing cards, doing line dances. We got board games. As you can see in the picture, we have the police that hang out with us. We also have a partnership with the EMS. So the EMS come down and do workouts with us as well. After the coffee social, we spend a half hour of that at the end of the day. At the end of the coffee social, we do a chair yoga. So we have the folks that will participate with the chair yoga as well. Wrapping up the community standards, when we're working out at the gym, we just ask everybody to kind of keep their clothes on. There's a lot of other gyms that when you start to work out, you get hot and people, especially a lot of guys, like to take their shirts off and stuff like this. We ask everybody to stay clothed all the time because of the different traumas that people may have gone through. So we just ask everybody to kind of keep in mind where they are and keep their clothes on. And the last but not least, sobriety is the first step in a full, meaningful life. Members should use recovery strategies to each individual. So everything doesn't fit, one thing doesn't fit for everybody. So there's different pathways. So whatever works best for you, we just ask folks to keep that in mind as you're moving through. Again, as you can see, we have a bunch of classes. This is our normal circle up. And in this circle up, this is where we're building out those community standards. We're telling everybody what's going on. We're getting agreements from everybody. But this is why the gym is set up the way it is. This allows us to build this community where everybody's working out amongst each other versus everybody in their silos working out individually. A lot of times you will partner up with somebody, not that you're helping the person, but you're just kind of going through different apparatuses together. So it's as a team event, if you will, and you're kind of moving through different apparatuses to kind of get through. At the end of the day, we just want it to be a fun, emotionally, physically safe, inclusive, and accessible place where everybody can kind of just come, hang out, have fun. As we always say, it costs you absolutely nothing. So we want everybody to be able to come down and enjoy this. It's not just for folks who are in recovery. We invite everybody to come down to enjoy the space. We feel as though if you come down and you enjoy the space, you'll be more willing to share out with people that you may think are in need at any given point in time that may need that community to kind of build or walk with while they're on their pathway to recovery. That is the end. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you for that presentation and for the visuals. This is a very thoughtful facility. I really appreciate you walking us through the community standards. Any questions or comments for Deryck?
Good evening, everybody. This is Jeff Johnson. How are you guys doing?
Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Good. I just wanted to weigh in and say that I did get a chance to go down and visit the center, and it is a really, really nice facility. You walk into a gym like that, and the first thing you think about is, wow, this is probably going to cost me, a few $100s a month to even be a part of this gym. So if you are blessed to be able to get a chance to go down there and take advantage of what they have going on, then I highly recommend it. When I get time, I plan on going down and taking part in some workouts and trying to volunteer. So anyone want to go down there and take a tour and go look at it, again, I recommend it.
Thank you, Jeff.
Any other thoughts or comments? I think, Deryck, have you put your information in the chat? Maybe you could put the website. I think you did in the beginning. Maybe do it again.
Yep.
As a trifold and a website. I know we're going to try to get the Bold Teens over there as well. You didn't mention this, Deryck, but you're from Codman Square. So this is one of our very own.
Absolutely.
Taking this very important issue on and creating a resource for our families and our neighbors. So let's make sure we check out this facility and support this effort.
And last, one more thing, the idea behind it as the program manager over there is trying to bring it to the community. So a lot of folks don't even know that this exists. We're right down in New Market Square. And if anybody knows where 1010 Mass Ave is, we're literally right behind it. Victoria Diner or Lloyd's and Jeff's, as some people may go to, but we're right in the middle of where a lot of that mass and cast situation was going on. But we're trying to help that situation out and also bring folks in the community that are literally surrounding that gym so they can access this free utility. So if you think if the money that you may spend to go to any gym, you can now save that money and utilize it for something towards something different. And you can get the same workout that you would get at any other gym. The great thing about it, you'll have a coach that can lead you through most of your exercises and training as you go through it.
Thank you. It's a safe space. It's free. I mean, make sure you check it out. Thank you so much, Deryck, for being with us this evening. Moving along in the agenda, we are now going to hear from Becky Pierce. She's going to give us an update on the Fair Share Millionaires Tax Amendment.
Great, thank you, Cynthia. And hi, everybody. I'm Becky Pierce, and I live in Codman Square, halfway between the health center and the library. I'm a member of Dorchester People for Peace and a longtime friend of the Codman Square Neighborhood Council. So both of these groups have endorsed the Fair Share Millionaires Tax campaign. And I'm here tonight to give you some easy ways you can help get this rich people tax onto the books in Massachusetts so it can start funding things that all of us non-millionaires need. How many people were here at the neighborhood council meeting last November when Lou Finfer of Raise Up Massachusetts Coalition came to your monthly meeting and talked about the Fair Share Millionaires Tax Amendment and asked you to endorse it and get it passed? I guess people can raise their hands. I may or may not be able to see you, but I just like to know if some of the people remember that when he was here talking about the Fair Share Amendment. So yeah. So let's do a quick review of how the Millionaires Tax campaign works. And Mike has agreed to read the slide here.
So this is an amendment that has been voted on a couple times already by the legislature and by voters and approved. It just because it's a change in the state constitution, it has to be voted on several times. So it's going to be on the ballot again this November. You'll have a chance to vote for it. What it does is it taxes incomes over $1 million at 9% instead of the regular 5% the rest of us pay. And it's going to use the extra $1 or $2 billion that will raise for schools and transportation. It's only going to affect the richest 20,000 taxpayers out of the 7 million people in Massachusetts. But those 20,000 people have a lot of money and they're putting it into TV and radio ads to defeat this. So if we want that extra money for education and for transportation, we're going to need to mobilize people power. You know, it's up to us to pass this.
Mike, I'll take questions in a couple of minutes. After I tell you what the Fair Share Tax Campaign needs us all to do to help make the millionaire's tax a reality in Massachusetts. So the Raise Up Massachusetts Coalition needs to reach at least 1.5 million voters between now and Election Day, and needs to get to as many of those voters as possible before some of the 15 billionaires and 20,000 millionaires in Massachusetts flood the airwaves with ads with lies like many millionaires will move out of Massachusetts if this passes, or Massachusetts doesn't need more money for public schools or affordable or free public college and transportation. And if millionaires have to pay a higher tax, it will hurt the economy and jobs for everyone else. So this is the kind of disinformation that we're going to be up against, and we have to reach as many voters as possible, 1.5 million or more, so that they will know the truth about this and vote for it and pass it. So that the tool that the campaign has for reaching all those voters is a pledge card that people can sign online or on an actual hard copy card that says, I will vote yes on November 8, 2022 for the Fair Share Amendment. So the Fair Share Millionaires Tax Amendment campaign needs all of us to sign the pledge card and to get as many other people as we can to sign the cards too. And this is what, if you have me on your screen, this is what the hard copy pledge card looks like. And I'll tell you about how you can get some of those a little bit later. So if people can see what's on this pledge, can people see what's on the pledge card, or do we need to read that too? I mean, you'll see it when you get it up on your screen when you open the link in a little bit, but it basically just tells what the what's in the sorry, I've just lost my place in my script here. But the pledge card just tells what's in the amendment that we're going to get to vote on, or the law that's going to change the way that taxes happen. So the link to the pledge card is in the chat, and if you could please sign it now if you would like to, while we're doing questions, and then after that we'll talk about some easy ways that we can get more people to sign it from starting now in April and as long as we can until the election. So does anyone have questions right now about the Fair Share Millionaires Tax? For those of you that didn't hear about it, that was a pretty sketchy summary at the beginning, but are there any questions that I can answer now while people are signing the pledge in with the link in the chat?
I don't see the link.
Just put it in.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, Amy? Amy, do you have your hand up for a question?
Oh, sorry, that was up from before, from saying that I heard this presentation.
Okay, does
in the fall.
anybody have a question?
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
I'm
So
excited to sign.
Maybe everybody's cool on what's going on with this and what it means and why it's important, and how it will give a couple $2 billion a year to the state budget, in addition to the money that we already have for education and transportation.
There's a question, Becky.
Yeah.
What is the criteria for the top 20,000 millionaires who would be taxed still?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
Antoine, do you want?
You have to earn $1 million. That's it. That's how many people are making more than $1 million in the state. Earning $1 million, not worth $1 million, but earning $1 million.
Okay, answer my question. Thank you.
How do we get in touch with you, Becky, if we want to get more involved?
Okay, so let me go on into that section because so what we need to do is get as many people as possible to sign this, and I imagine you all have ideas. So people just signed this on the link in the chat. Is that right? I hope. And if you haven't done that yet, do that tonight and save that link so that you can send it around to your family and friends and networks and social media and so forth to get as many people as possible to sign it. But I'm also planning to get you hard copy pledge cards for folks who you relate to mostly in person, people who don't do much online stuff, and folks you see in the street and at meetings and events that you go to. And if you carry a few cards around with you when you go out, you can probably get people to sign them pretty easily. My contact info is in the chat, including my address, which is 41A Brent Street, which is close to Washington Street. And I have a box of these hard copy cards on my porch now, and it's going to be there for the next months and days. And I can also drop off cards at your house if you call or email me. I'm happy to drop them off to people that want them. So just let me know that you want that. And if you have pledge cards signed, you can ask me to pick them up from you, or you can drop them to the mail slot at my house. And my address is there in the chat. So if people think that they can get some other people to sign the pledge card, how many people can get some other people to sign it either online or on a hard copy or both? People just raise their hands or something? Okay, so yeah. Okay, so that's great. As many people as can do that. And if you just email me or call me or put a message to me now in the chat, I will get you as many pledge cards as you want and then drop them off to you or whatever. So if there aren't any questions about that, I think that's everything. I just want to thank you, Cynthia, and everybody for having me here tonight and for helping get enough money for public schools and transportation in Massachusetts by signing the pledge card and spreading the word about the millionaire tax.
Thank you so much, Becky. Thank you for your leadership on this issue. No other questions or comments or thoughts for Becky? No? Okay, great. Make sure you guys save those links and reach out to Becky if you want additional information. Is Mr. Jenkins on? I didn't think I saw him. He might come on later. Okay, we're going to keep moving along in the agenda. We're going to hear from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Donte Peeples, I think, is on.
How we doing? Hello, everybody. Hello, Cynthia. I don't know, me and Denise tend to switch off, so I know it's been her for the past couple months, but it's me tonight. My name is Peeples. I'm the liaison for Matter Panel or Dorchester for the Mayor's Neighborhood Services. For the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Service. I was just muted. Somebody was talking.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry about that.
Okay. One second. I just want to talk about a few events and public meetings that are coming up. So give me 1 second. Got a call. So first, I just want to talk about the BCYF Dorchester study that's been going on. I think this is going to be the 4th or 5th meeting, possibly this. I know there's been a lot of meetings thus far, but on April 14th, from 6 to 7, Thursday, April 14th, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. They will, we'll all reconvene to review what's been done so far as the design, programming, and location that folks want to see for this new location. So April 14th, 6 to 7 p.m. If anyone has time, please feel free to come out and give any feedback. It's much needed, and it's I can't say how much it is needed, so it's necessary actually. So if anybody has any time, please come out. Next, I'll go to the nowhere in Codman Square, but I wonder if folks ride the Mattapan trolley on April 13th, I believe. Wednesday, April 13th at 6:30, there'll be a meeting with the MBTA to talk about the give a status update, get feedback from the community again as far as public outreach strategies and answer any question or comments that anybody has. Again, this meeting is to ensure the accessible, reliable, modernized service for Dorchester, Mattapan, and Milton. Please, if anyone has time, again, feedback is necessary and needed. So again, that's Wednesday, April 13th for a public meeting to talk about the Mattapan Line Transportation Program. Next, I'll talk about a few summer jobs that are available. First, with the Boston Fire Teen Academy, the employment dates are going from July 11th to August 25th, I believe. The jobs are going to look, Monday through Thursday, 25 hours a week, $14.25 per hour. And again, this is through Success Link. So I'll throw a couple links into the chat when I'm done speaking, or I can just forward them over to Cynthia to disseminate. But again, this is the Boston Fire Teen Academy. They're looking for folks. The ages are going to range from 14 to 18, I believe. And I will put that information in the chat in just 1 second. Next, we can go to the MBTA is having another meeting. This is going to deal with their the CIP, the Capital Investment Plan, which is going to be a rolling 5-year investment program that funds the planning, construction, and capital maintenance of assess assets across the transit system. At the meeting, there will be an overview of the proposed fiscal year 2023 to 2027 MBTA Capital Investment Plan and discuss some key capital projects coming up. When this is going to happen, actually tonight, Wednesday, April 6th, was the first meeting, and the next meeting will be Tuesday, April 12th at 7 p.m. So again, if people have any time to give any feedback, it's much needed and necessary. Thank you so much. Lastly, I think that might be it. I have one more though. Again, through Success Link, some more teen jobs through ABCD, as well as Success Link, like I said. Just looking for teams and jobs that are available. So I'll throw those links into the chat in just 1 second. Lastly, I do want to talk about the Dorchester Dot Constructs program, which is it helps build skills in toolbox with a pre-apprenticeship program. I'll throw the registration link and flyer in there in just 1 second. There'll be a $300 stipend, as well as other things that'll come along with, as well as first aid certification, resume building, and resume writing. So if anyone has any questions about that, please feel free to shoot me an email, give me a call. And I think that's it for me at this time. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so much. Any questions for the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services?
I have a quick thing. Donte, do you have the Taste of Dorchester date yet? Isn't that before our next meeting here? It's been like the end of the month.
The Dorchester, I'm sorry.
Taste of Dorchester?
Taste of Dorchester. I think that's the end of the month before we get here.
Yes. Let me get that information. I think I can throw that in the link. Just give me in the chat. Just give me a second. Thank you. Thank you, Rep.
Any other questions or comments? Feel free to put all that information in the chat, Donte. You can email me too, but it'd be nice to have it here.
All right, I'll do both. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now open the floor to any representatives from city councilor offices. I know BJ wanted to share from Councilor Worrell's office.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Thank you all for having this meeting. Thank you for having me here. I did want to hop on and make an announcement for our job fair. So Councilor Worrell's office is doing a job fair on April 30th from 1 to 4 in the Common Square Park, right in front of the Common Square Church. I wanted to extend the invitation, and we're going to be getting out flyers soon, but I also wanted to invite anybody that had or is working at a business or nonprofit organization that would like to be a part of it to message me or email me, and then I'll be able to get your organization or business or nonprofit as having a table at our job fair. I think this is going to be a very awesome experience. I think it's going to be something that's going to this being my first project, I'm trying my best to make it something that we can really use to help people match with jobs that they want to do, not just jobs that will pay them or not just jobs to have, but careers that they can set forth in the future. So we're going to be looking at tech programs. We're going to be looking at hospital jobs, things more than just hourly jobs. We want people to be set up with careers and have solid plans for their future. So if anyone wants to be part of that, or if anybody has any more questions, I can drop my email in the chat. You all can feel free to email me at any time. So yeah, and also if anybody has any questions about anything, you can ask me as well.
Great, thank you. Questions or comments? Nope. Anyone else want to speak on behalf of a city councilor?
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Nadia Levinsky from the Suffolk County Sheriff's Department. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Just wanted to mention that we are having our summer enrichment program this summer. The deadline for the applications are April 25th. It is a 7-week paid internship for interns for high school students who are interested in law enforcement. If anyone's interested, please go onto our website or contact me. I'll leave my information in the chat and we can go from there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna move on to State Representative Russell Holmes and then to announcements. Is there anyone else from a city councilor's office or an elected official's office?
I'll be fast tonight, Cynthia. I won't hold you up.
Okay, we're gonna hear from State Representative Russell Holmes.
I very much like going out to Donte because he helps me out so much with so many of my meetings. So I'm gonna have to switch in my car. So my car's gonna. Then I'll come right back. Let's see. Okay, I should be back now, right? You can hear me fine? Yes?
Yes. Yes.
You hear me fine?
Yes.
Let's see.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Okay, now you have me. Now you got me back on my earpiece. Okay. Donte talked about the CIP, and I appreciate him doing that because it is so good to have partners at every level of government that he's putting that announcement out. We are about to spend $9.4 billion, with a B, dollars at MassDOT, at the MBTA, I should say, over the next 5 years. Those are orange line train, red line trains, new buses, and all the other stuff. But I get sick and tired of going to those meetings, and they're just nothing but the same old people saying the same old things. Can we please, from our community, join those meetings? Go up to the meeting next week. Come and talk about, let them hear our voice about what it is we want. You know, they think, oh, we're fine because we got the Mattapan trolley, we got the, buses coming, we got the red line, the orange line train. But come tell them what it is specifically you want. Your voices, your emails, those things help me because they make me stronger when I advocate for these things that they actually hear from you. So please, I'm begging you, please come. Be active and express your voice in that. Second thing Donte talked about, which I'm very appreciative, is the Mattapan trolley. Again, we have the first of the renovated trolleys on the line now. You ride the Mattapan trolley. It has been up and running for about 2 weeks. That is the first of some trolleys that should have been delivered 2 years ago, but COVID delayed a lot of things. We took some resources and spread them out, and now that was the first of the 8 that are going to be delivered. So that means to come talk about, hey, tell us what's going on with the timeline for the new trolleys as they come on board. But then some of you may not know, but hopefully you do. We're literally about to spend somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 million on upgrading the trolleys and the bridges and all the connections in Milton and Mattapan. Come know what's happening in the neighborhood, because even though you may not necessarily ride that trolley, just know the transit is connected, and everywhere we're pulling in all these different directions, we are trying very hard to get some of you guys to get convinced that you need to get out of your cars and be able to use transit. I just think it's amazing that in Boston, we see transit as like this status thing. Oh, I got a car, I'm somebody. But I see some of the richest people in the world taking the T down in New York, down to Wall Street. We need to be comfortable saying, hey, we can get out of our cars and be able to use public transit. So I think we should do our job on our side to make sure that public transit becomes very reliable, whether that be what we're doing along Keolis, whether that be the free buses, whether that be Mattapan trolley, all the things we're trying to do, the busways down Blue Avenue, to say that you guys can be focused on our community and getting all the things we should get. I'm gonna go quickly and just say jobs, jobs, jobs. I keep saying that. I was on the phone with Keolis today, the head of their human resources department, trying to figure out how do we get more people hired, because of the fact that unfortunately some of these jobs that we keep yelling about with jobs, 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 when the counselor staff person, I forget who that was, I apologize, I was transitioning in the car. But when we're talking about having that job fair, Councilor Worrell and I were talking even today, we have to also figure out how do we deal with the fact that the jobs that were out there aren't all Corey friendly. So you have all these pathways to careers. You have math, biologic. You have all the people at the sheriff's department. Those are great jobs that those kids have that Sheriff Tompkins been doing for years. Great jobs. But we have to, from kids to adults, we have to also be focused on making sure folks be thinking about Corey-friendly opportunities because, you know, like I think about, we're trying to hire 300 MBTA bus drivers right now, 300 of them, right? But again, a challenge with Corey's. And then we're trying to hire folks to drive the trains for Keola, still a challenge around Corey's. And so we have to put that piece of this conversation in because there's just jobs literally everywhere right now, but we have to find places that are Corey friendly as well. Okay, that's the quickest I can give it to you. I try to stay less than 5 minutes, but already, Cynthia, if someone has a question, I will definitely answer.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rep. Holmes. Donte, before we take questions for Rep. Holmes, can you put those 2 meetings in the chat for the MBTA and the trolleys? Your state rep is pleading. He wants you guys to participate in these meetings. He wants representation from his district. So if we can get those links in the chat to make sure we try to participate. I know we're all busy. There's so many meetings. We're all zoomed out, but we do need to make our voices heard and represent our community. Any questions or comments or thoughts for Rep. Holmes? I have a quick comment. I want to thank you for meeting with the Bold Teens recently to discuss tobacco use and prevention, but then also to discuss trying to get healthier food options in our community. I know they're challenging you. They want to work with you to figure out how to change the built environment and what businesses are available on Washington Street. So they look forward to working with you and thank you for taking time to meet with them. Any other questions?
You are very welcome. Can I just add next week, again, I'm trying my best to just let you guys know, I get slammed with advocates, but not from my neighborhood. Next week is budget week. Literally, we in the House release our budget next week. Hundreds of people got calling me, but nobody from my neighborhood. I mean, like, I got Toni all set. Don't have to worry. Toni doesn't have to call me. She knows I got Sportsmen always all set. But you know me, like, what do you want? Where do you want us to be sending money? Like, you got all this ARPA money happening. Everyone's talking about tonight about what's going to happen with the millionaires tax. What about the $2.5 billion we still got coming? What about the $4 billion we just spent in ARPA? Call and advocate for this money. You can't just, keep calling. I mean, I don't hear from you folks about the things that I'm telling you. People call me from Timbuktu, place I never heard of, asking me to spend money. Make sure y'all call your state reps. Make sure you do that. If I'm not your state rep, get your line item in this budget. It's released next Wednesday. We have to have the amendments in by next Friday. I'm just trying to make sure you know when that happens. Just think, every year it happens the week before we go on school vacation. It was released on Wednesday and people pound in hundreds and hundreds of earmark requests between Wednesday and Friday. Of course, there are some things that are like standard. I'm gonna take care of no books, no ball. I'm gonna take care of Sportsmen, Lena Park. But I mean, if there's something I'm missing, always call your reps and your senators next month for your senators to do that. Sorry about that, Cynthia. I'll be quiet.
Sorry.
Thanks, everyone.
Important. Follow Toni's lead, follow the Bold Teens lead. He wants to be called and emailed. Let's reach out to him and make sure we're making it clear where funds need to go in our community. Rep. Holmes, maybe you can put your information in the chat so if anyone doesn't have it, you're here every month. Most people have it, but for anyone on that doesn't have it, they can make sure they reach out to you, call and email. Any other questions, comments, thoughts for Rep. Holmes? Okay, if not, thank you for joining us every month. We really appreciate it. And we're going to head and move on to announcements. Thank you. Okay. Really quickly, the Common Square Neighborhood Council meets the first Wednesday of the month. Our next meeting is May 4th, 7 p.m. Also, our meetings are posted on YouTube, so make sure you follow the channel. Is Lisa on? I know Lisa wanted to mention the COVID-19 testing and vaccinations. If she's not.
Yes, I'm here, Cynthia. Yeah, I just wanted to let everyone know that as of last Thursday, the Russell Auditorium closed down for testing and vaccinations for COVID-19. They're actually going to take place at the health center. So do not go to the Russell Auditorium. Call the health center if you need to schedule a test, or we do have some walk-in availability as well in urgent care for that. So just wanted to let people know that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
You heard this mentioned before. The meeting is April 14th. We're talking about a new community center in Dorchester. I'll put the link in the chat, but make sure that you take part in this meeting as well. Antoine, did you want to mention the Codman Square community cleanup?
Yes, real quick. So April 16th, Second Church and Emmanuel Gospel Center, both based in Codman Square, will be hosting a cleanup day. Definitely welcome everyone to come through. And if you're an organization and you have promotional materials, please bring your flyers and your business cards. There will be a information table for business and organizations. I'll be DJing. There will also be snacks and there'll be prizes. And yeah, come through. Let's clean up our neighborhood and beautify it.
Speaking of, oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Sorry.
10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Take note of this flyer. Speaking of community cleanups, the Codman Square Neighborhood Council has not finalized their Love Your Block community cleanup plans. Usually we clean up Washington Street, Codman Square Park, Dr. Loesch Family Park, behind the library. If you are passionate about cleaning up, please contact me, reach out to me, because we're finalizing what exactly we'll be doing. We also want to support other initiatives and other cleanups like this one. So we want to make sure people know that April 16th, there is one. Are there any other community cleanups that people want to announce tonight? If not, I'm going to put the email for the council in the chat. Just let us know what you would like to see the Codman Square Neighborhood Council do for Love Your Block this year. There are some informal events taking place. The actual formal date has still not been established, but we think it's going to be later on in the coming months. But it's on our radar. It's one of our favorite events.
Hey, Cynthia, can I plug in something else I want to hear about?
Yeah.
It would be great for us to hear about solutions around these bikes. I mean, when you see what happened at McDonald's over there on Gallivan Boulevard, people beating up on the man over in Brighton. I mean, we need to figure out as a community how we respond and let it be known to the police where these bikes are. This is just ridiculous what continues to happen. These 50, 60, 100 bikes running up and down our streets. Let us tell on these folks. This is dangerous. So I hope other people will join in and start to say, hey, these bikes are being stored, because that's where the police can go and get these bikes. These things are dangerous when they become a crew like they are nowadays. Thanks.
Thanks, Rep. Holmes. The weather is getting warmer. Let's get ahead of this issue before it becomes a big problem in the summertime. Last announcement from me, just big thank you to Councilor Worrell and his team for helping us coordinate a walk along Alston Center, Wainwright, Brent, and Melbourne streets, figuring out ways to make it more safe. We're dealing with traffic issues, safety issues, density issues. And of course, we want all of the families that utilize the Dr. Loesch Family Park to be safe when they're utilizing that park. So, you know, we're having these conversations and we're figuring out what next steps are. So thank you so much for helping to organize that. Any other announcements? No? If not, I will see you all. Oh, wait, let me just check the chat. Is there any announcements? No? Okay, great. I will see you all next month, April 4th, 7 p.m., same time, same place. Thank you so much for spending your evening with us. Thank you to all of you that presented, and have a wonderful night. Share this information with your friends, family, and neighbors. Good night. But I wanna be the change I want.